All right. Well, good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to our virtual discovery day. And yes, this is the brand new. This vehicle just hopped on a big truck to be deployed out to Tucson, Arizona. So we couldn't be more excited about the happenings here with Ben Masters this month. And I'll cover the agenda, and we'll walk through. Again, welcome to this event. Hopefully you're learning a ton and enjoying your discovery process so far. Dennis and Hugo, I'll keep an eye on the waiting room in case somebody else joins us. But in the meantime, it's wonderful to have Zach and Brian and Ivan on. And again, stay engaged. We'll talk a little bit about our background and that evolution and the real, true experience, whether it's with the technology and the innovation of our products and capabilities, or frankly, small business expertise. You've got one of the true elite rock stars here on our team with Dennis Mulganon. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that core opportunity, what we provide, and from a systems and a training and the support, and then sort of cap off the session with those keys to success. And it's not only, here's all the great things that we as Ben Masters brings to facilitate your success, but what do you do with those to be able to light it up and be successful with our team? So with that, we're going to kick it off with the video, and I need to make sure, give me 1 second. I've got to share the audio
up. Did we speed it up at all?
Hey, Sean, also you can let Andrew in. He's in the waiting room.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wow.
You know what, Hugo? I'm going to make you co-host so that you can also see that. So as you look at this, right, this is our wonderful Ben Masters vehicle. This is on the Lion 6 electric vehicle. And no, Dennis, I didn't speed it up at all. So you see, like, soup to nuts, how long our compactions take. As we've talked about in probably all of our intro calls, if you've gotten to know us, our compactions are only 5, maybe 6 minutes. So as we walk through this, Hugo, will you give me the play-by-play? Usually I've got my music rocking here, but I think just walking through what we're doing, what's that approach, squaring up, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. We see the truck backing up right now. We have radars in the back to make sure that when you back up against a container, it's squared. So your roller cannot go sideways. So you're sure that your Teflon bumper is hitting the container. It's not going to damage it because there's a piece of Teflon there. But that way you'll see that the roller falls inside the container, and the arm length is made that when you stretch all the way out inside a 40-yarder, you're not going to hit the end wall. So the only wall you can hit is the inner wall when you're coming back. But there's you have cameras that you can see what you're actually doing, and there are guards on the roller, so you're not damaging the container. In other words, so here the deployment of the roller is made under an automatic cycle. So all the operator did is press one button, and the roller just went all the way by itself, placed himself like on top of the container, and once it's hanging there, you can manually control the roller and start doing what we're seeing on the video. So you can see like the cameras are actually switching from the back view when you're backing up to the roller deployment, and it switches to inside the container once you're in there. And once you're done compacting, the automatic cycle, just hit like the same button, it will park itself automatically as well. And it will do like a cleaning cycle. And what's a cleaning cycle is basically while the roller stands above the container, it's going to spin one way. I think it's making like 5 turns one way, 5 turns the other way, just to clean whatever debris are caught in the teeth there. And there's like the way the roller is made, nothing can actually remain there. It's like flossing your teeth once you're done. So and while the roller gets back and parks inside its guards, you can already have started to do your invoice to your customer while the automatic parking is actually enabled. So, but we got like maybe 20 seconds that technology will take care of parking the thing while you can do some other things. But we think, if we compare ourselves with the competition, we're 2 to 3 times faster to make a compaction that will have a better impact because we're heavier. So, we do believe that efficiency is the key here.
Awesome. Thanks, Hugo. So, as we're kicking this off, as you know, who are we? We are the international leader in mobile waste compaction. We've got really deep roots from the manufacturing, launching in Canada, and now really lighting up the U.S. We've combined the innovation, patents, and technologies with, frankly, Dennis Mulgannon to realize this great opportunity. So we have that 100% electric fleet. We'll talk about some of the newer options that we're bringing to market here in 2024. Really safe operation. As you saw, our driver stays in the cab to do that operation. Other folks have to get out and go to a truck bed mounted rig. Efficient. I put the 6 minutes, typically, it's in the 5 to 6 minutes. It's not rounding down on that number, but rounding up instead. We save our customers a lot of money in doing the compactions, and also it's a 100% B2B, right? Consumers, you might get the occasional big dumpster out at a house, but you're going to work with the GC, right? So we're not doing a B2C type of a opportunity. And then we'll walk around the horn. A lot of our extended team isn't here today, but we've got our co-founder, Dennis Mulgannon. He'll share some of his success and track record in just a few moments. I'll probably be talking way too much. That's why I put the call to action. I'm Sean Hansen. And to really get engaged as we go through this and ask questions. We have Lawrence is not able to join us today, but I've got a great video sort of in absentee. He recorded a little overview about what excites him about BendMasters, and we'll play that in just a moment. And Andre, I saw you joined. Would you mind introducing yourself and tell a little bit about your role and what excites you about BendMasters?
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean. I was part of the team that founded the BendMasters concept with Lawrence, Renee, Eric, and Hugo. It's an amazing group of people. We were looking for an opportunity, Lawrence and I, to build something that was great for the environment, great concept, had good economics, and we just came across Hugo and Eric with their innovation, and it's been an exciting journey to develop this franchise concept in Canada, and then now with Sean and Dennis in the US. We're just so excited. It's going to take off. So we're really glad to be part of the team.
Wonderful. Thanks. And then Renee is also up in British Columbia. Eric, we're always excited. We've got Eric and Hugo. We joke that they are mad scientists, and that's it's not tongue in cheek. They are some of the most brilliant engineers that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. So, Hugo, would you mind sharing just a little bit about yourself and Eric? And we're going to go a lot deeper into the technology and PacMat, but just high-level introduction would be appreciated.
Well, you said it all. The most brilliant engineer you've ever met. So, just kidding.
All right.
No, actually, Eric and I, we met. We were working for the third largest manufacturer of garbage trucks called Brie Equipment. It's up in Quebec City. We ended up going our separate ways in 2012, but we met in 2015, and we had this idea of doing like a garbage truck that was fully electrical. And we had a big grant. There was a new government program, so we did the whole side loader with like 100% electric motors that we installed on a diesel chassis to realize that we were actually saving 50% of the fuel cost just by putting something that didn't have any hydraulics and was powered by its own battery that you could just plug inside like on the grid, the electrical grid at night, just to recharge your battery, just like regular 120 volts. And you know, then all these electric trucks started to show, especially Lion Electric in Quebec. They were kind of like the first company that brought like classics chassis. But you know, back then, for us, it didn't make any sense to install it on a electrical chassis yet. But when COVID hit, there was like a lack of chassis, and a lot more and more grants started to come in, and the prices of electrical trucks started to drop significantly. So it made it that we had a really good business case to install what we were doing on electrical trucks. So we did not only a garbage truck, but we did a tow truck. We are currently working on other projects, but the PackMat was something that was very easy for us to do, as you know, we were distributing and manufacturing the hydraulic ones that you can mount on diesel trucks. And you know, we sold probably like 80, I would say, in North America so far in a couple of years. But the electric version was very intriguing because we created like a patent that was reducing a course of action that I can explain more in detail on one-on-one if you'd like. But basically, this patent made it that this movement we were eliminating was reducing the cost of the machine, just like an hydraulic, plus the return on investment that was pretty significant. That's how we came up with having the first 100% electric compactor mounted on a first 100% electrical chassis. So in partnership with Lion, we did a big inauguration last year with that product. We've been testing a couple in our fleet for a year now. So the product is mature. The product, I mean, if you see the roads in Quebec, you'll understand that we have everything here. You know, holes, salt, chemicals, rain, snow, ice, name it all. So if it lasts in Quebec, it's good everywhere. So we're very proud to send the first unit in Tucson, Arizona. Like the official launch is going to be in a couple of weeks now. So
Hugo just basically covered the next 5 slides for me. So as he always does. No, it's great. Thanks for the introduction, and indeed, right, having the great engineering team behind that and their background. We'll share some of that evolution in just a few moments. With that, I need to make sure, I apologize for the sharing challenges this morning. I need to make sure I got my sound on so that we can hear Lawrence's overview. So give me just one moment. Perfect. And with this, Lawrence wasn't able to join us, but as one of our co-founders of BendMasters, it's wonderful to have him on and share a little bit of insight into the startup, the evolution, and what another true expert in small business ownership is all about.
Lawrence Eid, one of the founders of BendMasters. Thank you for coming to our Discovery Day. Sorry I can't be there with you, but we thought the next best thing would be for me to introduce myself in a video and explain a little bit about why BendMasters came to be. So my background, I'm a CPA at KPMG. I did my letters back in the day. Not your typical CPA, found that out pretty quickly, and ended up joining a small restaurant group, partnered in with some guys, and we grew that up to over 150 locations across North America, multiple different brands, mostly franchise, but corporate stores. Had a vertical integration with our food manufacturing too, did a lot of food manufacturing that we distributed to those partners and did wholesale with. So had a lot of fun growing and really understood and became very, very enamored with franchising. And the reason was because you're giving opportunity to other fellow entrepreneurs. When I first joined and jumped into the business, it was very, very interesting to me, and it was very scary. And I'm sure many of you who are first-time business owners or looking to be first-time business owners have those same kind of heart palpitations. And I can tell you, there's nothing like it. It is fantastic. You are stressed all the time, but you are rewarded all the time. And when things succeed, it is a fantastic thing. Through my franchise journey, I became vice chair of the Canadian Franchise Association, and through that journey, met one of my fellow partners, Andre Margot. COVID came, and I had sold my business at this point, and COVID had come around, and we were looking at different opportunities. Andre came to me and said, "Lawrence, let's look at these things. Like, we can license businesses from the US or from internationally. We can start our own. Like, what do you like?" And I think I made Andre a little upset because I was very, very, very particular in what I was looking for at that time. Coming out of the restaurant business, it is a very, very, very complicated business, as you can appreciate. And you are rebranding all the time. You are making new menus all the time. You have to be, on top of consumer trends and giving great experiences. And it's just a very, very complex business. Coupled with that, usually you have a landlord that is your boss, and that landlord can be nice or not nice. And during COVID, I definitely saw many, many landlords that were not super nice. So I told Andre, I do not want a business that has any landlord relationships. We looked at a lot, and we ended up seeing this amazing piece of equipment, as you can see in the background here, from a company called PacMat. And the PacMat guys you're going to meet today if you haven't already. And the equipment they've been using in France for quite a long time. And we said, wow, this is really, really interesting. Started learning a little bit more about the business economics of what a truck would do and the number of containers it could crush, and really looking at the economics of the waste management systems. And we said, wow, this is really, really, really cool. It's not sexy. Garbage is not sexy, but it's not going anywhere. We are a consumer-driven economy in North America, and we create a lot of waste. And that, as I said, that is not going anywhere. So we started looking at this and talking to them. Behold, they had just opened a factory in North America. They were just looking to expand, and we ended up partnering with our guys in PacMat and starting this business together. It's gone very well. And we're really looking forward to expanding with many of you and expanding into a lot of these territories. One of the really big drivers and what really interests me about this business, and I think is just a phenomenally rare but phenomenal thing for us, is it is truly a win-win-win business model. As a franchisee and as a business operator, we have solid unit level economics when we get growing. I'm sure Sean and Dennis will go through the performance with you and all that kind of stuff. As you see, we are able to drive a good, solid business model for our business owners. So that's a great win. Second win is the B2B model. So your clients and the people who are using this service also are winning. They pay a lot for their waste management, and it's a small line item on their P&L, but it's a significant line item in the sense that we can save a lot of it. So we come in and we can shave that line item, in half sometimes. They're spending $1,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month on waste management solutions. We can save that for them. We save half that just through compaction and just through not as many services that go out there. The third win, which I think some of you might be surprised to hear, is the companies like the Waste Managements or the GFLs or the big solutions of big infrastructure businesses. You might think, well, they hate you. They would hate that you come in and take their revenue. And, Bob's local dumpster rental, he doesn't like us so much, maybe. Yeah, fair enough. But the big guys like us. And the reason they like us is all around asset utilization and asset optimization. Their bottleneck, the big guys, are trucks and drivers and pickups. That is why it costs so much. That's why they're charging a lot, because that is actually the valuable piece of the business. That's an expensive piece of service that they offer. For us, we come in and we can immediately increase their asset utilization. They don't need new trucks. They don't need new drivers. They can use the same number of trucks and drivers and go around and service more bins. Bins for them are not a problem. They can get bins out everywhere, but they can service them way more efficiently with the same number of people because of our service. So therefore, they don't have to make big investments in trucks. They don't have to make the labor investment in new drivers. They're able to just say, wow, we can expand and grow market share by having this service come in. So it's win-win-win, and it's fantastic. The thing I'm going to leave you with is what is the challenge of this business? I'm coming into this, I'm putting myself in your shoes. I'm coming in as a Bin Masters franchisee. What's hard? What's hard for me? The hardest part of this business is finding the decision maker in your client who is willing to take it on and see that investment in their own business from using your service. That's the hardest part. Because like I said, this is not a big line item a lot of times in these businesses, P&Ls. It is an afterthought. They call this business, their warehouse manager says, oh, my bin's full, I'm gonna call and get it picked up. You have to break that cycle. And when you can break that cycle and show there's value there, that person wins, the manager wins, the CEO or the president, depending on the size of the business, will notice that and really appreciate that service. The benefit, the challenge that is to get over, the benefit of it is once you have broken that cycle and you're in there, now you're an afterthought. You're like the janitorial staff that come and clean the office every night or every few nights that is just an afterthought. It's on the P&L and it's like, oh, I pay Susie's cleaning to come in. I pay Bin Masters as a part of my waste. Once you're in, we have amazing client retention because it is an afterthought and because the value is there. So these are all the things that excite me about the business. I think it's a fantastic model. I really appreciate all of you looking at this today and answering, asking all your questions, and hopefully we have answers for them. Please ask a lot of the questions that you have of the team here. I hope that you have a great Discovery Day. And thanks again for looking at the opportunity.
Always great to have Lawrence share a little bit about his background and really what was that foundational thing that started Bin Masters up in Canada. And then he certainly inspired us to, with him and Andre and Hugo and the team to bring this into the U.S. So on that note, as I said, I don't want to talk at you for the next hour and a half. Want to get you guys engaged. Would love to go around. We'll do that 8 is enough panel and ask you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background, what piques your interest into Bin Masters, and something interesting or unique. The other thing, and I know, Brian, you're off camera for that health reason and feeling bad, under the weather. Encourage Ivan if you can come on camera, because someday the folks that are on this session, they might be your peers. They might be going through a launch together in parallel with you. For example, we're coming up to that launch in Tucson. Oh my goodness, we've got 4 owners that are coming to that launch just to be there and rally around Eloho, get some training, etc. So with that, Zach, would you mind kicking us off?
Sure. Well, my name is Zach Stubbs. I've been kind of a serial entrepreneur pretty much since I got out of college. I started out in real estate as a real estate agent. In about 2008, my wife graduated from ortho school. And if you guys remember the real estate market, I was pretty much retired that year. So I took on helping her get her practice started. And before I knew it, I'd been running the practice for about 13 years. And that was my first ground up business build. From there, a few years later, in 2014, I purchased my first storage facility. It was defunct from the bank, and ramped that up, filled it up, and expanded the capacity by 150%. And from there, I built a small real estate portfolio, and I got into the gym business in 2019, just in time for COVID to hit, and was able to actually build a fantastic gym business. It was very successful. I had a lot of fun doing it with a good partner of mine. And I just had a good friend that wanted to purchase it and gave us a deal we really couldn't refuse. So I sold that almost a year ago, and put me into kind of an early retirement. So I'm looking to get into my next business venture, and that's how I got here with Bin Masters.
Excellent. So what piques your interest in Bin Masters and what we do?
Well, I like that. First off, when I look at business, I want something that's going to help people and improves lives. And I think this is something that just kind of it helps all the people around. It's a win for Bin Masters. It's a win for the customer. It's a win for the environment. So it just seems like it makes a lot of sense for everybody. I like the recurring revenue part of it, just as a pure business sense of it. Most of my businesses have been based on recurring revenue. I just like that model, and I think this offers an ability to really grow relationship with a handful of business owners, just to make them better, and in turn make my business better.
Wonderful. Thanks, Zach. And how about Brian?
Sure. Sorry about not being on camera, but I still look like the guy in the picture. I look better in the picture than I do right now. My background, I had a career in banking, for a while. Then I joined my wife's family business. She stepped down to have our first child. I helped run an optical distribution company that had been around for about 45 years. While I was there, I started a sales channel and online eyewear that grew to be bigger than the optical distribution company. So we separated it. I ran that for the last 5 years. And while I liked it, I really didn't enjoy the direct to consumer e-com space because I felt like it wasn't a good utilization of my community skills. I've been in the same area for going on 15 years. I'm president of the homeowners association and networked so hardcore in this area when I was in banking that I just wanted to get back into my community to do something tangible that I could drive down the road and point at and be like, I did that. That was important to me. Oddly enough, in the meantime, I've been helping my sister start her therapy practice. So I helped her open the first PLLC. I've never opened a PLLC before. So that's been fun. Kind of like Zach doing ortho. You kind of like have no experience in a very specific trained field. It's a whirlwind. So I've been helping with that. So I'm not a serial entrepreneur. I'm definitely an opportunities guy though. And at my heart, a salesman. I don't have enough in my portfolio to call myself a serial. I've come up with a lot of bad ideas. That's for sure. I don't know if serial entrepreneur requires success or not. Well, I'm not sure. Bin Masters, I think first of all, B2B is huge. Second of all, scalable within a small territory. I really like that, looking at the territories and seeing that you don't have to go too far to operate more than one truck. And then the fully electric, I'm from Detroit, the Detroit area, and this is the big three, and they're all pushing for electric. And, if an electric vehicle comes out, it comes out here first, pretty much, with the exception of some of the, the fringe manufacturers. So I think as the landscape changes for electric vehicles, it's got to happen in this area to be able to happen anywhere else. So it'll be a good spot to see it. And I love the proprietariness of this specific truck being fully electric with the guards, with the faster compaction. In my area, both the other franchises exist and have existed for some time. So that unique selling proposition is important to be successful, I believe, in my area. And then something super random and interesting about me is that I'm a certified A2 Brunswick mechanic. When I was in high school, I got a job at a bowling alley and found myself just learning everything about how to drill bowling balls, how to do all that stuff. And they needed somebody in the back of the house. And I got certified to work on the A2 machines, which is basically like working on an electric car engine. I mean, they were 220, they were big, they were very dangerous. I've been shocked a couple times. I never consider myself super mechanically inclined, but I definitely did that. And I could still climb in the back of a bowling house and repair the machines today. So that's just kind of random thing about me.
Awesome. Thanks. And how about Ivan? Ivan, you're on mute if you're talking. There you go.
Yeah, no, here I am. I have a corporate background for the last 38 years. And my wife also worked in the corporate world until about 2013, 2014. And then she branched out and went into real estate. And we fiddled in that for the last about 10 years or so. But I did leave my job back in 2023 and then had decision to make whether we wanted to continue to do that or do something on our own, have a little bit of experience in the real estate arena. We do have some investment properties. We've done some house flips as well. So, and it does interest us a lot. So we wanted to see, how can we be our own bosses? We are working with a broker, I guess, for the last 6 months, and we looked into many different types of franchises. And how we came upon Bin Masters was just something something that we knew was going to be around, and I referenced the video that was shown earlier. Unlike the food industry, where you constantly, it seems you have to reinvent yourself. waste management is something that will continue to be there no matter what. And the other interesting part of Bin Masters was, well, two, was the all electric, the concept itself, and also that it is B2B. We're also looking for work-life balance. We're in late 50s, so while we do want to work hard, we don't want to take over our lives. So this, the schedule of this seems like a good opportunity to try to achieve that.
Wonderful. Well, and we appreciate everybody sharing insight, and I think that today is going to be really insightful for each and every one of you as we go through and connect some of those dots, and certainly, go deeper into the interest and, again, really help you learn more about us and our team. So with that, we'll jump into, again, more of the background, though Hugo already covered these slides, but I'll have him go ahead and him and Andre really cover sort of, what's that story going all the way back to PatMat at a high level, and then, launching in Montreal, et cetera. So Hugo, if you wouldn't mind kicking this slide off.
Sure. PatMat, the name PatMat comes from France. It's a company that started in 2001. They filed a patent on the principle that their compactor would be basically released from all its weight, whether it's hydraulic or electric, to have like a 3-ton roller drop inside a can. And basically the motors are inside the roller, and it spins. So you don't have, like, if you look at your typical competitors like Crusher and Smash My Trash, they have a cylinder pushing against a roller, which does not compact as efficiently. You can damage a container doing that, and you're not spreading out. You cannot work the trash as good as you could with a PatMat roller. So the sprint, it's like a big elephant that jumps inside the container and rolls back and forth. So it's same principle. Like all if I look at Smash My Trash and Crusher, those are Hussmann and Bergmann crushers built in Germany. They had to go around the PatMat patent in the early 2000s to be able to make a compactor that would be efficient. This is why Smash My Trash, you'll see a big cabin with the whole thing translate from the front of the truck to the back of the truck. So by the time the driver goes out, steps in the cabin, and is ready to compact, the PatMat machine is pretty much done compacting. So, like this 5 minutes loss of time that you're just basically preparing yourself to compact, I mean, we're pretty much done by then. So what's interesting is that we have a product that is not only more efficient, but also has a much more better lead time and a much more better price. We're the only North American manufacturer. We opened up in 2019, started to sell basically what France was producing, but we had to put our North American touch on the products. We replaced all the PLCs. We ended up electrifying the whole thing. I think all the planets aligned back in 2020 where, all the prices of electrical components dropped. Same thing for electrical trucks. Grants started to appear. And there were also nice subsidy programs for people that wanted to develop in electrification. So when we started to sell in 2020, we sold about 20 units the first year, where PatMat France sold 5 in about 15 years, trying to sell to North America, because they sell to municipalities and they sell to groups that, it's not like a service business like here. They don't have this in Europe. But in Europe, they have mandatory compaction in some landfills and eco-center. This is like a municipal regulation that if your container is not compacted enough, it doesn't leave. It's gonna get here someday. And once, we're always 10 years behind Europe in these regulations, but eventually it will come down here. And, this is gonna be like a gold nugget for all of us. So by aiming at customers that was offering the service, like we sold about, I think it's 75 in 2 years and a half, which is like a whole difference. So we decided to become the manufacturer, and we've been producing them for more than 2 years and a half now, all here in Montreal, Canada. So for our North American-based customers, we have a much better lead time. You place an order today, within 4 months, you have your full truck operation in operation at your facility. And this is when later on in 2021, the franchise model was pretty interesting to us. We were approached by Lawrence, Andre, and Renee, and we thought that it was the operations business, the service business, was something that we could try ourselves by selling ourselves equipment and just start the first ever Bin Master franchise around Montreal. So we started with one truck in 2021, and now we have 8 trucks. It's a mix of fully electric with diesel and hydraulics, but more than half of our truck are generating twice, I should say more than 50% of profit every month. So we realized how good this business was, and we were happy that we were a window for every other potential franchisees that would look at us and say, well, this is real. This is something that does happen. And even here in Quebec, we have something that requires a CDL on trucks that are even like 26,000 pounds or under. You're required to have a CDL. In the United States, you don't. So we work with, we're having a hard time finding drivers, even though like it's one of the coolest jobs you can find out there. But still, it's something that down in the US, just a regular license does it. So, and just to finish with the first US Bin Master opening, official launch March 11th. So we're really excited to be part of it. We've got to have a team going down there, and hopefully one day we can be at your facility and launch at in your area.
Well, thanks, Hugo. And we won't go terribly deep, but Hugo shared a little bit about the innovation and the evolution. But Hugo, we've got deep roots in the technology and the engineering, and please give a high level. And you'll notice our new bad boy, our US vehicles on this picture now. So we couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, so we do have a few models that are on site. So they can't go on the road, but like landfills or people that will own over like 20 containers, they might be interested in having something that just stays on site, like the self-propel one that you see. We do have a roll-up version as well. What we're finding out in North America is that even with all these products available, everyone goes back to the PX601 or PK608 mounted on a chassis because having it on a brand new chassis, you can lease the whole thing. So you're dropping your operation costs, your monthly operation costs by a lot because you can lease the whole thing. While you can do leasing you could do leasing maybe like independently, but the truck manufacturer will lease our equipment with the truck. So it's a big plus for anyone that wants to have a pack mat mounted on a Class 6 chassis. So I guess the latest innovation is the one you see on top, the full electric one. The full electric version can also be installed on a diesel truck. You do save diesel doing that. The hydraulic version on an electric truck, that's not a good scenario because you're going to eat out the batteries because hydraulics are not efficient. So it is doable, but we're not selling it. And then there's the hydraulic on diesel, but that's not really the model that Bin Master USA wants to promote here. So, but we do have these models available as well.
And then Dennis, your track record and history, it's great to have you at the helm of Bin Masters USA. If you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your background and success.
Thanks for being here, everybody. One of the things I always like to talk about on this is that an early adopter, not everybody's an early adopter. Each one of these brands that I've been lucky enough to be involved in and build into national companies, I had to be very, very selective on our first group of franchisees, because really you're a co-founder of the business. I mean, it really truly is. And that's the way I look at it, all the way from Home Care Assistance, Junking, Flylock, which is now the nation's largest commercial locksmith and security integration company, WaveMax, which is the nation's largest laundromat chain. I'm very proud of that. That's why I like to say that. Took them from one unit, and they're the biggest now in the country. Nerds to Go, Surface Experts, Children's Art Classes, Vertica, and now, of course, Bin Masters. So, I mean, this is really about getting to know you and making sure that, you have the mindset of a true entrepreneur, because that's the type of people we need involved. It's not going to be perfect if you end up moving forward with us, but you're going to help us pay it forward to franchisee number 8 and 80, and eventually number 267, because that's how many territories we've defined in the U.S. To say I'm excited about Bin Masters and the fact that we're launching finally our first trucks on the road. We'll have, again, March 11th in Tucson, Arizona, San Diego 2 to 3 weeks later, Reno, Nevada 2 to 3 weeks later. After that, I think we're going to launch around May 1st, and then into the Midwest, into Minneapolis, and then probably Charlotte will be the next one after that, Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're we're just in this beautiful position to really dominate this segment. A big part of this business to me was the lack of awareness of the service. That's a big benefit to me. It's not like we're a plumber or an electrician where we're going out and poaching customers from other service providers. We're creating the market demand, and you want to have that mindset too. We're a pure B2B play, as has been discussed, and it's really easy for people to grasp our unique selling proposition. It really is. But it's more of an awareness sell, because what do you do? The way I described Bin Masters to my children was, that trash compactor in the kitchen, you don't have to take the garbage out as often. I mean, it's that simple of a concept, right? I mean, that's what we do. We create space. So, welcome, and we're going to learn a lot about you, and please do Q&A. You can interrupt us anytime during the presentation. We're here just to get to know you. I think you understand the concept pretty well, and we're going to go into a lot of the details, but really want to get to know you and see if it's a good fit for both. You'll never feel pressure from us. I promise you that. That's not how I grow brands. There's got to be a very, really strong synergy between you personally and us for this to make sense for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Dennis. And as I know you got to take 5 and be off camera for a couple minutes, I will keep on going, and we'll see you back on the other side. I jump into, some of our, core values, right? As Dennis talked about, as we've launched in with Bin Masters USA, I would say we're definitely at that in a versioning, right? In life and businesses, that version 2.0. We took all the great things that our Canadian colleagues rolled out and then tuned those up and have added some new marketing tools, techniques, relationships with some of the big haulers, et cetera, to become that version 2.0. And as we continue to open and grow out across the U.S., that's where, as Dennis said, really, you have that opportunity to really be a co-founder as an individual owner and help evolve as we go to version 3.0. And so that's why the vision and the mission really are important, and making sure that we're all in alignment. And fundamentally, right, our mission at Bin Masters is to establish a nationwide network of prosperous franchise owners. Our focus is to foster growth and development of our people while delivering sustainable waste management solutions. In doing so, we aim to enhance profitability and provide exceptional value to our customers. And the vision, right? How do we fundamentally support that mission? Is to be a leader in the waste management industry, recognized for our commitment to environmental sustainability, innovation, and the prosperity of our franchise network. We aim to inspire a future where businesses nationwide prioritize efficient waste management solutions, contributing to a greener, cleaner world. In all of those, you see that impact we make on the environment, on the community, and fundamentally in each and every one of those, we build this through prosperous and successful network of colleagues and franchise owners. I do highlight the core values. You know, we're not one of those organizations that printing and framing brass plaques, etc. But really at a high level, who are the people that thrive and want to be part of the team day one, right? At that high level, you know, serving others, right? Putting relationships first, always acting with integrity, and being humble. Also, be a problem solver, right? When we're looking out, you know, like Paul up in Quebec, when we went in with that boat and turbine manufacturer, now they had a sea of 18 dumpsters, and their plant operations, et cetera, were a mess. They had to have backhoes getting to those. And now, you know, thanks to Ben Masters, they only need 5 dumpsters. And we park the vehicle there. We do compactions every day. It's exciting. And but that came about from, you know, being curious, working smart, and constantly improving his operation as well as that of the customer. And then also trust the process, right? As we have that version 2.0 and everything that we've learned from Canada and tuning and improving and rolling out, it's critical. Be teachable and putting the business needs above personal wants. It's sort of that fundamental part of our launch and our growth and success. So with that, we'll jump into the opportunity. Any questions? I know I've been sort of talking towards you or at you for a little bit. Cool. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into this. As you look across the country, we really have only 291 U.S. territories, right? We're not going to be like, you know, a Mathnasium with 1,500 units or a McDonald's with thousands and thousands, but there are really 291 distinct. What makes them distinct is we pre-mapped based on the success that we learned in Canada. What's your client profile? Where do we do the most work, et cetera? And so each of them has at least 3,000 qualified businesses that, based on their NAICS classification, construction, manufacturing, wholesale trade, and then our transportation and warehousing. And we've gone through and mapped that coast to coast to identify where are good opportunities. And you'll see the blue pinpoints. These are the 4 that are coming up. We're about to drop one over in Charlotte. Frankly, that's why Dennis had to hop off to go and dial that in and wrap up the franchise agreement, and he'll be back on. Then we'll drop another pin, and we're going to continue to grow through an amazing team of owners. So what else do we know about this market, right? So overall, that crazy big waste management market is a $208 billion market valued by folks in 2019 and projected to hit $230 billion by 2027. Frankly, North America, we produce a lot of waste. And really that annual growth rate is 5.3% compounded annual growth year over year. The construction, just that space, in 2018, they produced 600 million tons of construction and demolition debris in the United States alone. So when we look at those dollars, that's that compaction industry, people have forecasted that even though it's super new and we're creating this, there's 330 growing up to as of last year about 400 million opportunity. Some things you might not have known, right? 50% of our U.S. trash is in dumpster usage, right? With over 146 million tons back in 2019, and the CO2 from all of this, in addition to what we do, was 79% of greenhouse gas emissions. So we can actually add value and tune that. When you look at this, and Hugo always gives me a hard time because I underestimate, right? I put in our low numbers. Is how do we help when you look at compost, construction, metals, recycling, wood? You'll see across the board, 50% plus reduction, and in the volume. And ultimately, right, they're still producing the same amount of trash, but we are eliminating the number of loads. And I'll give you a slide coming up, but if that average load is 50 miles round trip, we're saving them, our customers, money, and super beneficial for the environmental impact too. So this one, I promise I won't read each and every one of these bullets, but why do our customers choose to compact? Is fundamentally we remove air. There's a lot of air. You can see the before and after pictures, and are just that amazing, right? This dumpster that's loaded with pallets and wood, etc., has compacted down to literally, as I shared, Hugo would give me a hard time, it's a quarter the volume. So now that customer can come in and load up more, we can come back in and do a compaction and save them. Average haul in the U.S. is about $500 per haul. So we can come in and do a $150 compaction, right? They had net savings of $300 without CapEx or OpEx investment, et cetera. And so really highlighting, your dumpster usually only needs to be hauled half the amount of time. Sometimes it's only a third the amount of time. And we do improve that dumpster efficiency and also safety and increased productivity. We've seen many customers where, they fill up the dumpster and then there's another whole dumpster pile sitting next to the dumpster. And so really help drive their operational efficiencies. And then, some of these before and afters, you'll see it's really going left to right, right? This dumpster up here is, totally full, overflowing, and then we came in and it's at less than 50%. This is another manufacturing facility. This down here is a distribution firm, lots of pallets. And this one is just general warehouse trash. And so you can see it went from, all of these are going from 3/4 or even overflowing down to just a fraction of that volume. And I mentioned, that CO2 savings. This is important. As you look back and see the brands that Dennis has launched, there's always a little element of, is it needed? That's a key element. But do we make a positive impact on the communities that we serve? And fundamentally, when you look at Ben Masters, we make a huge impact. So if we look at that average number, right, 50 miles round trip, CO2 savings without that big rig, about 3 to 4 pounds per mile. I bet you guys didn't realize that they're throwing off, coming out of the back of that big rig, about 3 to 4 pounds per mile driven. So if we look at that 50 times 3, we're at 150 to 200 pounds of CO2 emission reduction per compaction. So if I look at that and say, just for a single dumpster, by going and doing a compaction on a weekly basis, even say we got 2 weeks of vacation in there, but we've got 50 working weeks in a year, we're going to eliminate 3.75 tons of carbon going out into the atmosphere. And we're actively working with the smart folks, with the EPA and other organizations to say, okay, how do we fully quantify this? How do we get into cap and trade, carbon offset market, et cetera? We're super new at what we do, so they haven't fully told us how we can sell that market, but we're working actively on that. Also, as Hugo mentioned, in some markets, it definitely makes more sense as the U.S. infrastructure for charging is in process, but not fully out there, to do our traditional diesel body, but deploy the electric pack mount on it. And even if we do that, right, the diesel option is saving about 3.3 to 3.5 tons of carbon reduction in that same scenario, because we're only doing 3 to 5 miles per stop versus that 50-mile round trip. And so really driving a great carbon offset and reduction in that.
Sean,
any questions? I know that this was a lot of math. Yeah, please do.
Well, and it was a strategic decision we've made in the last 30 days that you guys will have an option as you build your fleet, that, if it's a long range compaction, you're going to have better range with a diesel, but some communities just aren't ready for full electrification in terms of the truck and the chassis side. So we're looking at the hybrid model. We're always going to be all electric compaction. In California, all the trucks will be electric just because our infrastructure here is built for it. But in some communities, it's, you know, it might be a year or 3 or 5 years away where it just makes the business model easier. So as you build, so maybe your first truck is a hybrid diesel Mack or a Freightliner with the electric compactor built on it, and then your second truck charging is now easier for your business to run, and you add your electric fleet as you go. But you're going to be in control of that. We're going to help you make that decision. We're going to do a lot of the due diligence beforehand to see if it should be a diesel or electric truck to start your business with.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we talk about, right, qualifying, quantifying a market, this is a good example out in Indy is, you know, that particular Indianapolis will support 2 really good performing units. That northern side is, you know, 3,125 qualified businesses. That's comprised of over 1,000 construction firms, 567 manufacturers, wholesale trade, and transportation. What we learned, right, in that version 2.0 is once we're at about 70 to 75 customers, we're maxing out a vehicle on a daily basis, right? We're doing 15 to 18 compactions per day. And so if you think about that, a mere in that market, only 2.4% of the total addressable market would max out a vehicle. And so that's where we really drove to the metrics to say, okay, if I build up and achieve just 10%, so I build a customer base of 300 customers, then I have a high performing fleet of 4 vehicles. And a lot of our owners, for your reference, as you're looking at it, have said, hey, I want to land and expand. I want to light up here in North County, San Diego. I know that this territory is going to support 4 vehicles plus. We don't know what that total upside is. Again, we're emerging, but, and then I want to be able to grow a little south and go into other parts of San Diego. Let's light it up here. And that same opportunity is there on the table with each and every one of you as we look at markets where you are and beyond. So, you know, piggybacking on, you know, the benefits, right, of the electric, and as Dennis said, really made that strategic decision to have the hybrid. But, you know, our vehicle, it's a Lion 6 and has about roughly 200 miles of range, and no commercial driver's license is required to operate that. That's really important to us because, frankly, people aren't going to truck driving school anymore. So, and that actually helps with the hauler conversation too. And we have great federal and state grants. As Dennis mentioned, sometimes that hybrid, like here in California, we have over, frankly, that number is over $150,000 of grants and rebates off the vehicle price. So it's a no-brainer to deploy the electric. And others nationwide, it's a $40,000 to $45,000 federal incentive. And those are also stackable. And so when I say stackable, means like here in California, $142K of state rebates, then the feds stack on top of it. So it really nets out about $182,000. And part of, in parallel with you going through your exploration with us, our colleagues over at Lion are going deep on what's available in your state, in your municipality, and sometimes it's actually the electrical company like Charlotte. It's Duke Energy has other electrification rebates and incentives going on. So as we highlight, you know, what are our 2024 key goals, Dennis? I think we're going to blow this onboard 10 franchise owners. I think we're going to blow that out of the water. Go and establish some regional partnerships, develop our national account system, develop major hauler relationships, and really, really key articulate what are the differentiators between us and others, et cetera. Going back to that other slide, when we look at that, you know, if I just get 300 customers, I'm maxing out 4 vehicles. That's great. I don't have to chase the other guy's customers because it's so new. What we do is very nascent here in the U.S. But if I do, I've got a better mousetrap, and we'll hit that on the next slide. But Dennis, would you mind like highlighting some of the, you know, what we're doing to achieve some of these key goals?
Well, yeah, the big one for me is always going to be, we knew when we decided to bring this to the US is that we were going to create allied relationships with local, regional, and the big boys, the national companies like Connections and Waste Management Republic. And I'll just give you an example of that. When I launched Junk King, which is now the second largest junk removal company in America, when we first launched, there wasn't a lot of opportunities with bigger accounts. But when we hit about 40 franchisees, the opportunities started to exist. And I'll give you an example of that. With Home Depot, we approached them about hauling all of their waste from all the Home Depots in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. And there's over 60 in DFW, 60 Home Depots. So we did a beta test with them. It was highly successful, and we were able to roll it out nationwide. That's how this is going to work in the beginning. In fact, our newest franchisee in Reno, Nevada, pre-signing his agreement, did a ton of legwork and already has a relationship in that regional market with Waste Management with two of their biggest accounts that we're going to start a beta test in Reno, which again is something that we can continue to pay forward as we look at these localized relationships. But we've always looked at this as we're going to be added value. We're going to create the allied relationships with, again, locals. Sean and I up here in Northern California met with Atlas Disposal last week, looking at what the challenges are, where we can help them. We don't even have a truck in the market, but it was a referral from a friend of a friend, so we could really get insightfulness, and it was a really positive meeting. And they're just a regional carrier. They're based in Salt Lake City and Sacramento, California. But that's a big part of what we're going to be driving is, creating a localized relationship that can scale into other markets across the country. And what we'll be working with you once you open to be able to do that, supporting that big time, because that's a big part of our overall growth strategy.
Thanks. And Hugo, you guys are already doing a lot of work with Waste Management. Can you share sort of how we collaborate with those guys? You're on mute.
On mute.
It's insightful.
I'm sorry, guys. As you might have caught during the Lawrence video, these big haulers, they like us, and I can tell you like a perfect example of a customer we have in the Eastern Townships, about an hour from here. They have 18 containers, all from Waste Management. We go there, they were able to drop to 5 containers only. Waste Management is happy because they're getting like 13 containers back that they can put elsewhere, because they have a lack of containers, they have a lack of drivers, they're having a hard time finding drivers. So for them, it's a big gain. It's a asset optimization for them. So they even like gave us very good referencing. Those smaller guys, sometimes they want to haul air. That's what their business model is based on. So sometimes when someone say, well, I don't want you to come back in my containers, well, fine, but the end decision belongs to the customer that wants to use the bin master service. So we're just going to call Waste Management and say, well, I'll take your container instead of his, because I want to be part of the environment, and I want to be Waste Management sent us reference letters, as well as JFL, and the big guy around here is Waste Connection. So yeah, that's basically what we've been facing. They like to get their containers back and just put it elsewhere. They can just charge by weight and time instead of just hauling. So they can just like re-invoice a different way, and it's a win-win-win.
Thanks. And we highlight, Waste Connection, Waste Management, and Republic. They're the 800-pound gorillas in the market. But as we did our research, even across that, they only have like 28% market share coast to coast here in the U.S. You'll see their trucks all around town, but there's a ton of haulers out there. And we also established some of those local partnerships, like up in Reno. There's some small haulers that we're already talking to pre-opening. So as we talked about, right, I mentioned, that the competition, and, we don't have to chase their customers, but I've got that better mousetrap. And, fundamentally, this slide is about that, right? So we have a 3-ton roller. That roller also has this exterior equipment protection ring, so we don't damage the bin. We have the cab-based automation, and that you saw the video. It's 3-camera, fully automated backup system. We've got the radar to ensure that we're squaring everything up, and our driver stays in the cab. And that's really important, right? No slip and falls, getting out of the cab and having to go to the rear truck bed mounted rig to do the compaction. And those things together bring us into a 5 to 6 minute compaction duration. And actually, and I should highlight that on this slide, we get about 40% to 50% better compaction from our equipment than the other folks. And so if you think about it from a customer perspective is, okay, you're going to take less time, you're going to stay in the cab, and you're going to have a 40 to 50% better compaction. Of course, I'd bring on Bin Masters. And then that last piece is with the Lion 6, as well as with the Freightliner and the Mac options. And we are running that core diesel, as we talked about it, up in Canada. So does not require a commercial driver's license. And again, I highlighted it 5 times, driver stays in the cab. And, having the equipment manufacturer is our partner, that's PACMAT. That's Hugo, Eric, and their extended team. They have skin in the game, and they're here to support you day in, day out. I don't think Hugo sleeps, so he's available 24/7, and really want to see our success coast to coast. Any questions on this? A lot of people, hit me.
This is Ivan. On the 5 to 6 minute duration time, is that from the time the truck pulls up to the trash bin and the time he leaves, or what does that entail?
On average, it's from the time we're entering the site and squaring up and all of that. So having the camera system and that radar, right, we're able to back up really quick and do it. And that's why, frankly, I didn't edit that video up front, so you can see, okay, it does take that period of time. So it's really fast. And if you think about, when we talk about that 15 to 18 compactions per day, some sites, right, our favorite clients, have 2, 3, 4 plus dumpsters. And so we get a lot of efficiency. And then others, we even buffer, okay, if I'm doing a compaction and then I've got a 10 to 15 minute drive time between the next one, and then I'm doing compaction, really look at optimizing your day. Long-winded answer, but hopefully that connected the dots, right? So really streamlined.
Well, it kind of does, because you're looking at, doing 18 compactions with under 2 hours of just pure compaction time, and then you factor in your travel time, and you're not even working 8 hours, I would think.
Depends on the route,
that's right.
Right? But it can, it can, and the efficiencies. And, again, for other mobile service companies, it's about logistics, right? It's about trying to make a right turn versus a left turn. So route management and optimization will be a big part of the business as your customer base grows, right? It'll be a huge part of it, because if you can save 5 minutes per customer, you're grabbing back all that additional time. And you're right, it can be done in less than 8 hours.
Is there scheduling software provided as part of being a franchise owner?
Are you reading my mind? That slide's coming up in like 3 slides. Perfect question. Yeah.
I have
So,
a quick question.
hit me.
When it comes to the fully electric, the range is limited, but with a diesel, you can refuel in 5 minutes. What is the charge time if you went with a fully electric truck for your first truck? On a busy day, it sounds like you're going to have to charge during lunch, basically. How long does that take?
Well,
on a
so
charger
Brian,
I can find off the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we'll hit both of those. So
Okay.
First, why we have a lot of confidence in that. I know we have range anxiety. I get the little Fiat 500e. I call it the clown car of EVs. But I've had range anxiety. But when we look at it, is our typical day in Canada for a fully utilized truck, they drive about 50 to 60 miles. So they're not coming anywhere near that 120 miles. The second part is more on the, I'll hand it over to Hugo, talk about the battery packs, separate battery pack from the compaction versus the truck, and that sort of top off versus overnight charge, et cetera. Hugo, you want to tap into those?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We have most vehicle manufacturer, and we mentioned a lot of Lion in our slide, but Mack and Freightliner are coming with it's actually already available, a full electric version as well. So each and every manufacturer will offer like charging as part of the financing. So you will basically buy the truck, the compactor, and they're going to provide a charger that can be installed on a regular 220 volt, with about 100 amps. You're going to be charging maybe 5 to 6 hours overnight. You'll be full charged. You have access. It's a 60S port, so you have access to the fast network. I know, like in America, in the US, you have EVgo, you have Electrify America. Not like all of these trucks, they have particularities, but most of them will have, if you take like 100 kilowatt charging station, within like an hour and a half, 2 hours, you go from 0 to 100. You can even go up to the 350 ones, which takes like half an hour, but not all electric trucks are using that. So I guess we'd rather stay with the standard worst case scenario where you're still going to be able to charge in an hour and a half to 2 hours on a fast charging station. But the model is made that wherever you park the truck at night, you have enough power to compact 25 to 30 bins in one day. If you go above that, I think you need a second truck because you're making a lot of money. So if you have just enough bins a day, you just park your truck. It's fully charged overnight. It costs you maybe $5 to charge it instead of like $200 with diesel. We also put auxiliary plugs for your battery separate. Like the PackMat has its own battery, so you can just plug like on a regular 120 volt. There's an extension cord on the truck that you can just unroll. It's on a reel. You can just like plug in your wall and you're good. We did that because sometimes you'll have very, very low mileage. I'm thinking you might have some. I'm thinking of Florida. We have waste management there that drops containers after a hurricane. There's like 50 containers in a 2 miles radius because the whole neighborhood is like devastated. So you'll be driving around maybe 5-10 miles, where you'll be doing like 100 compactions. So to prevent having to recharge, because we have only one infrastructure, once you plug your truck, our battery gets recharged. But in case this scenario happens, you have the options of charging your battery separately so it can go quicker.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other key questions on those differentiators and technology? We'll jump into training and support. So some of the keys to success and, really, the value coming into a franchise system and working with, folks like Dennis who have done it and scaled in a number of successful models is that foundation, right? It's the training and support, the tools, the technology, and the systems and processes that we bring. So really does start new franchisee training. It's about 4 weeks of business ownership training. Don't worry, this isn't all in a lecture format and series, and you're not locked in a room, but a lot of this is done virtually, the onboarding. Some of that, as some of you have done elsewhere, is like the business ownership 101. A lot of our owners are sort of corporate refugees, and they've never owned a business before. Then we do 2 days on site at our facility in Montreal. Right now, Hugo and Paul and others have been super generous and have come out and we're doing that on site in the field in our areas. Like we're going to San Diego, we're going to Tucson, then San Diego, then Reno, and so that is wonderful having the folks put into action all the training that we're going through in your own territory. Also, that ties into the employee training with both the Lion Electric team, with PACMET coming and teaching vehicle operations and maintenance and all the tools and monitoring system, so that you're really able to hit the ground running and efficiently and effectively operate the vehicles. And we do that 2-day launch in your territory, right? Put into action everything. That customer interaction and engagement right now, as we're again so excited about our March 11th, we've got our PR plan, we've got our launch, we have customers lined up for those early sample compactions, and it's one thing to learn, here's the sales script, here's the approach, etc. We're putting that into action in the field. And then with the Bin Masters coaching, typically the way we've seen it work is typically weekly calls for the first 2 months after opening. And then you'll say, hey, Sean, take out the training wheels. Let's move this to every other week. And then probably about 6 months in, we're like, all right, good, we got this. Let's do it to monthly. We also have monthly all owners calls, right? As we talk about how do we learn and grow and improve? How do we build regional accounts, national accounts, et cetera? Those come from collaboration and sharing lessons learned, success stories, et cetera, across our extended organization. And so really foster that engagement, the training, and tee you up for a great launch. So, what does that sort of launch plan look like? Is, week 1, day 0, start the vehicle sourcing process. Right now, we're at about 90 to 100 days. And so we get that in process so that we can then start doing the other activities and selecting that on-site in-person training week, set up your legal entity, licensing, permits, insurance, and then start looking at your staff. Some of our owners are opening really sort of that owner-operator. Others are hiring a driver. I think that our best hybrid model that I'm seeing as people are launching is sort of hire a driver, right? Because it doesn't require a commercial driver's license to operate the vehicle, but somebody that can wear both hats, right? They can present our model to customers. They can sit down there with them and do that estimated savings, and et cetera, and can operate the vehicle. And but we work with you individually on what's the best thing for you and your team. Then we get into that prospecting. We'll talk about, the A, B, and C type customers in the territory, get the marketing and branded materials and shirts, et cetera. And then, that weeks 9 to 11, like we're right there with Tucson, is in the field sales, and then we're going to be physically on site. And then we launch vehicle delivery and the launch of the business. And somebody had just asked a question, right, about the platform and logistics. Absolutely. We use a platform called Vonago, and it is a great integrated field service management platform. All of our account management supports CRM activities for the business development side, our scheduling and route optimization, and service management, billing, reporting. It seamlessly integrates with QuickBooks Online on the back end. So you've got that bi-directional communication there. And for you as an owner, you'll access it with both the phone-based app and then the online, right? So it's all web-based. Your drivers, or again, as your might drive, really open up their phone, click on it, see what their schedule looks like, and all of that optimizes throughout the day. And they do the check-in, I'm on site, as Hugo mentioned earlier, right? As it's retracting the roller, great, we punch it up, compaction's done, and we can send the invoice right then and there, and really streamline all of those aspects. So, and then another side note, right? Vonago it was one of those like serendipitous things. As you know, you saw with Dennis's background, it's a platform that Surface Experts uses, and you know, we've got 85 units around the country leveraging that, and gosh, over 320 technicians in that system, and so they're doing dispatch and optimization and everything. And then, you know, as we met our Canadian partners, like, wonderful, you too use Vonago, and that's how you streamline your operation there in Canada. And so, you know, we've seen it as really one of those best in breed platforms. I will say it's best in breed for field service management. It's an okay CRM. And then really like that go-to-market approach, right? That comprehensive market insights is really everything that we've built and invested in are about winning faster, engaging customers, and unlocking insights. I'll share a little bit about that and how do we put all those things together over the next couple slides. So first, I love having mad scientists on my team. So this is a super sneak preview. We are actually automating identification of the bins. And this is in beta right now. You guys are actually the first folks on a virtual discovery day to see this slide. And I'm going to connect the dots, right? It looks like a bunch of like aerial satellite imagery, et cetera. So, you know, in this day and age of all the fun artificial intelligence, we have and are developing a model that was built on identifying containers, right? Shipping containers, things that go on the back or on boats, on semis, et cetera. And, you know, that insight is, okay, well, what's a dumpster? Effectively, it looks like a shipping container without a lid. Okay, let's start there. And let's train it and train it using our real world customers up in Montreal and Quebec to get that accuracy up. And so part of what we do as part of our launch is we feed it the region, and then it goes that next step and identifies, okay, where do I have dumpsters? And then what's that address? Who's that customer? And then the next slides will connect some of those dots of now how do we get to the right decision maker? But I am so excited about this. Hugo will attest that, you know, in that version 1.0, owners we're literally opening satellite views and finding where do I play. It's like an Easter egg hunt, find the dumpster. And then, or even Paul, and these are still good practices. Paul would as he's driving down the street, he sees a dumpster for a company that he's not serving. Great, let's go talk to them. Plug it into the tool and say, we need to talk to them. Bringing this technology, I think, is going to be just a real game changer for our owners around the country as we grow. Any questions? I know this is sort of my nerd talk. You guys know I'm the numbers nerd on our team, but I'm super excited about this.
So you
This
said
is a
this
premiere,
is,
Sean.
yeah, is this in beta, or is this expected to the AI is expected to be effective soon?
Yeah, the AI is being we're probably about, I would say, 80% of confidence. So you know, and the way we actually train it is we have like about 400 customers in Bin Masters Quebec, where we have dumpsters we're 100% sure are there. So we're kind of like having the tool like testing our territory to see if there's any match. You know, once it's above 90% like accurate, it's going to be ready to and that will come in the next weeks. So I guess we made a first one in Tucson. Once we're there, we'll go validate if you know, physically the containers are really there. But we're actually trying it with the first franchisee. But this is something that will save hours and hours. I mean, like Sean mentioned, we used to drive around. Then let's just go like on Google Map and see if there's anything. Google Earth. That's still a lot very, very, very time consuming. You divide that by 100 when you have that tool, because and something it does is it's cross referencing to like some lists from ZoomInfo where you can actually find the decision maker and call the right person, because the right person is not always at the place where the dumpsters are. You can be in an office downtown, it can be elsewhere. but we'll
Okay.
get this information.
Okay.
And that's
okay.
what
I
we're
guess,
doing in Tucson.
okay. And I guess that information is just forwarded on to the franchisee for that particular territory. So you would just say, hey, we've got 10 leads here we found with the AI. Go check them out.
Yeah, I'm going to show you in the next slides. Hugo always jumps ahead of my slides. I can't hold him back. But
Sorry, John.
what we tactically
Thank you, guys.
do. Now it's fine. And then, right, so that's version 1, right? And when we talk about 80% accuracy, right now, the only that delta is in a handful of false positives, right? We're seeing some that are really containers. That's not a dumpster. And what we're doing is that reinforcement training to say, nope, that's a container, not a dumpster. So, and that's a really important thing as I geek out on the AI stuff, that reinforcement, right? And telling it, nope, yes, nope, yes. And as Hugo said, is using the real world customers with their known containers, their known quantities, is getting us super accurate, super quickly. And then piggybacking, right? So now we've got that. We also, dovetail with other data points to identify and help stratify, not only from the visual overlay, but their industry, employee count, and diving into the ZoomInfo platform. And this is, frankly, it's best in breed. We've looked at DMB, Hoover's, Data, Axle, everybody under the sun, and made a big investment in the ZoomInfo platform because of really this. So this is a great example as we jump into, this is my Tucson market actually. And we're looking at also intent and narrowing down on these customers if they have some active, and what this is, you can see sort of this audience strength in this count is, are they actively looking at some of these key categories, waste management, sustainability? In case you wonder what all those cookies and stuff on your browser are for, it's so Big Brother can tell us about the data, and and really diving in. So now we've got the visual, that overlay. We also are able to add to that really rich, robust behind the scenes information, and then ultimately get down to who's the decision maker, and also, how, in this example, how does Thomas communicate, right? Actually, hey, he actually responds to emails, and calling him on his cell is a great conduit. And then also, getting some of those avenues like we're doing with Tucson right now, getting the LinkedIn set up and connecting to them, doing the pre-opening marketing drip campaign, and then scheduling those compactions. And one of the reasons we're bringing Paul to Tucson is, and hopefully you've met Paul. If you haven't, want to have you on upcoming validation calls. I openly joked, right? He natively speaks French and talks trash. In general, we got like a 95% conversion rate from doing a sample compaction to landing that business. Paul, he's at 99%. We want to have him in our markets and go close a bunch of deals for us, but more importantly, teach us how to do it so we can replicate and repeat what he does. So it's a combination, right? With the AI, there's still, legwork, and we're validating that, and then really driving down again in that go-to-market strategy and approach. Any questions on that? Hopefully that shows you how we connect the dots to really identify the right people. Awesome. So now we're coming up to the Mulgannon slides. And I highlight the Mulgannon slides because it's really the keys to success that we've talked about. Is we bring all of these aspects to support you, and it's really now what do you do to support that? Dennis, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, this is very generic and uniform. This is just based on my historical perspective of developing concepts, and that's why it's so critical for us as an emerging company and brand and service really to the marketplace that our early adopters are on the right side of the screen there in that 20%. The way it breaks out, over 1,200 franchisees in the systems I've built over the last 17, 18 years. That's 10 brands. It always breaks out this way for me with every brand. It doesn't matter what brand it is. I always have overachievers, and they simply realize, they're marketing machines, they're sales machines. They come to the table with that skill, or they're willing to develop that skill, and they realize if they talk to 20 people a day versus 10 a day, they're going to grow twice as fast. And guess what? It's true. It's about touches to conversion. It's all it is, especially B2B sales, and then tenacity. And that's who we're looking for here for our first group of franchisees. And, our first 5, we feel, are just absolute rock stars in that respect. Most people fall in the middle. They're perfect for franchising. They're generally coming out of corporate America. They're methodical. They want the business in a box, and they execute. They always catch up to my overachievers. They're just a slower hockey stick of growth, because they're just going to do everything exactly as prescribed. So to look at an overachiever in all my brands, they're the ones that go above and beyond and really drive the business. My underachievers are people that, 2 reasons, and I have them in every single brand, and I expect to have them in Bin Masters. And we spend more of our time on them than we do, obviously, on everybody else. But it's 2 things. Generally, they should have stayed at W-2 because fear stifles them. They can't move. It should be motivating them to, that because we all have it, every single one of us. Or they're not conducive to a franchise system because they can't follow. They try to change the mousetrap, try to reinvent the wheel, and they just don't follow it. So this is more for a mirror for you guys to figure out, who you are. I don't know, you do. And, but we're really looking for the overachievers in our first 10, 15 franchisees, because guess what it does? It gets us the next 10 and the next 10 and the next 10, because franchise development is about validation. It's about the first franchisees. They can either kill the brand, and I've had it done, or they'll make the brand. And so this is a really, really important part of our selection process with you. So.
Yeah, I like how you said, put the mirror in front of you, right? And where are you on that? And, some people are like, hey, once we got 50 open, cool. I'm great right there in the middle of the curve. But others are like, let's go rock it. Let's
and
have a seat
that.
at the table and light it up.
Not everybody's an early adopter. I get it, and I respect that completely. Some people want to be franchisee number 100. Not first 10, 15. So I get it. I understand it.
Yeah, and so we were talking a little bit about that customer stratification. So earlier we identified who are the prospects, and then we also work with you to now stratify that. Who are our A, B, and C type customers? As Lawrence in his video highlighted, our goal with key customers, particularly our A's and our B's, is to frankly be thought of like the cleaning service. Bin Master is going to roll in every Tuesday morning, and we know when they roll on site, we got to save money. And so when we look at our A's, right, they're using our services often. They've got 3 or more dumpsters on site that are hauled weekly, right? We know we're going to save them $1,000 a week if I've got 3. And maybe possibly even more. I always go back to sort of that really gold plus star one up in Quebec, where we do 5 compactions every morning, and frankly, that truck is cash flow positive the moment it drives off the lot at that customer. Not all of them are like that, right? That's that rare one. I won't say it's a unicorn, but it's a rare breed customer that we definitely want to try to find in every market. Then our B's, right? These use our services weekly. They've got 1 or 2 dumpsters, and they're hauled weekly or every other week. And then the C's, these are specialized project or occasional waste hauling. Like a general contractor. As Dennis just did a remodel up at his charity ranch, and he had a big old dumpster out front. They didn't need it every day, but at key phases of construction, really needed our services. Unfortunately, we're not here in the market, so they didn't take advantage of that. So, really identify the A, B's, and C's. And then as we highlight, now that we know that, what do we do and drive that sales and development? This is an example. Dennis, you want me to hit this, or you take it? This is like paying forward lessons learned.
Well, yeah, I'll just preface it that one of the brands that we launched about 4 years ago was Surface Experts, and it has the best go-to-market B2B sales I've ever been involved in. And when people don't follow it, they struggle, and when they follow it, they're almost guaranteed success. It's a script-based B2B sales program, but it also, we structure what you should be doing with your time. Sometimes when people come out of corporate America and they go into a small business, they're like, well, what am I supposed to be doing? You know, from 8 to 9, 9 to 10. And what we do is kind of just give a flavor of what your day should look like, especially that first 2-3 months as you're ramping up the business. And so it's really driven based on allowing you to be as productive as you can as a new business owner, and to have a high close rate based on a script-based B2B sales program. So Sean, you can take it from there.
Yeah, and I think that a key thing, like, know that you're not buying a job, right? And we're not dictating that this is your schedule. But what we're doing, and has proven to be really valuable, is taking that core schedule, say, you know, if I've got a core work week, rather than waking up, like going to bed Sunday night, like, oh my gosh, I've got so much stuff to do, or waking up Monday morning feeling overwhelmed, is really, all right, here's my approach. Here's how I'm going to eat that elephant one bite at a time and really light it up. So when we look at, you know, and then that feeds into our goal card and our tracker, right? So really outlining and tracking, what's the customer name? Did we do a drop-in? Did we, needs were identified, a demolition scheduled, and then ongoing scheduled, right? So, and continuing to repeat that and track. This scorecard, again, you're not buying a job, but we review it with you so we can identify, are there gaps in the process? Are there reinforcements that we need to apply in our training, our support, marketing, et cetera? Because if we're doing, say we do demonstration scheduled, but we're not having that conversion rate, okay, what's that delta there? What do we need to hone in on? Or if we're not getting demos scheduled, how do we tune that up? And really work with you on that core schedule, but really importantly, that goal card and supporting that as you're growing your business. And this is just, you know, taking that out, you know, as an owner, you know, really say, you know, Monday, great, we're going to do weekly sales planning, check in with the team, and then visit 6 A customers, visiting in the afternoon, a couple of A customers, and then carve out some time. Let's enter our data in Vonago, right? That's our field service management platform, and then follow-ups and other ops support activities. And then, you know, Tuesday, cool, let's wash, rinse, repeat, and then, you know, do some of our Thursday, Friday scheduling, et cetera. So really sort of laying out, here's key activities as an owner that you want to define those time buckets to really drive your success. And then piggybacking on that, if you choose to have a salesperson on your team at the outset, also narrowing down on what's their role, right? If adding a +1 on the sales, we want them to, you know, double and triple and quintuple our volume, as Dennis was highlighting, number of customers prospected that converts to real world customers that we're doing the services with. And then again, this is sort of that zoomed in view of that daily goal card. So here's the plan, and then here's the actual results, and layering into, great, we've got the demonstration scheduled, who are the key contacts, et cetera. Most of this is tracked in Vonago, but we also have this takeaway higher look because it's proven to be at a snapshot, what's working, what doesn't, where do we need to improve. And, you know, with that is, you know, hand it back to Dennis as he talks about characteristics of top performers.
Yeah, I mean, you know, B2B is a relationship, right? So, you know, we want to build that rapport with the customer, you know, and as you start to build up your customer base, part of your role is really just, you know, continuing to, you know, almost like a account management, right? You're just making sure the customer's happy, you know, and that's a big part of it. And once you're establishing, you know, customers that are on a weekly basis, the best top performers in all my brands are where the franchisee also sells, whether you have a salesperson and a separate driver or a hybrid. But if you're able to get out there and contribute to the sales, also that's absolutely the top performers. That's how it works. You know, and work the system every day. I mean, you know, always the toughest is those first 3, 4, 5 months, right? Ramping up the business and really monitor and track results, be accountable. We're going to be accountable to you. We expect you to be accountable to us, and your employees accountable to you. Yeah, and there's the, you know, maintenance of the customers, you know, always asking for referrals. A lot of times, you know, bin owners or people that are managing bins, they know other companies that could use our service. Celebrate wins with your staff. We, you know, another thing paying forward is that, you know, even, especially if you have that hybrid driver salesperson, let's build out a commission structure. Every time they add a new recurring customer, let's incentivize them to do it and celebrate that with them. And then, you know, we're over communicators, and that's, you know, we want to be that way. And so we expect the same from you, that, you know, we're in startup mode. I'm not apologizing for that. This is what I do. And so I know that, you know, if something's bothering you or you need something addressed, you know, you're always going to be able to come to me. I'll take care of it, and then, you know, work hard and repeat. I mean, this is you know, I'm not a SWAT guy. I am a KISS guy. I keep it simple. I'm not a, you know, I don't look at it that way. I mean, obviously I look at the market and so forth, but our concept is so simple to understand. I don't overcomplicate it either. You know, it's really easy for the customer to understand what the value proposition is. It's easily explainable. It's demonstrated beautifully. When, you know, you do a free compaction, you're going to notice everybody coming out of the building to watch it. It's like a transformer, you know, truck. It's amazing. It really sells the deals, and Paul will always say that. But you know, these are the things you want to look at and know thyself.
Awesome. Thanks. And with that, that really does bring us to the end of our slides. You guys had a couple of questions here and there, but definitely want to open it up to Q&A, and then I'll walk through some next steps in our process and journey with you guys.
I guess one of the things, and I think I've asked this before, especially my market would be in the southeast of the U.S. Turnaround time on repairs. You know, I guess you have two major pieces of equipment. You have the compactor and the truck. It seems like Lion has a pretty good size operation. But how about the compactor? Like if I had a broken part, what am I looking for generally on turnaround time to get something provided and installed?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We, like, the electric version, like, does not require any like hoses, or has very few wear items. We're gonna have, like, for now, until we have maybe 20 of these units on the road, we have a dedicated tech that can fly, you know, next day to go meet you. We keep everything here in stock. We can next day, whatever components you have. Your probable failures are only going to be a motor, a controller, or, you know, something that a wear item you might not have in stock. But anything like, if it's for any reason you have a breakage in your welding, we always recommend to connect with a local repair shop, which is, you know, something we're going to do in Tucson. We want to make sure that there's a place where, you know, there's a standard garage that can actually repair, just do like regular maintenance and repair. Maintenance is very low. It's only like lubrication. There's no hydraulic filters to replace. There's no you know, hydraulic water items to replace. So as far as you know, we tend to also lean on the chassis manufacturer because they have like a lot of dealerships, to perform some of the work that we could do. But typically, like, we have about 75 different customers in the US that have hydraulic, and that's basically what they do. They just, like, they know a guy that, and, you know, we have clear procedures. It's very simple. When we're going to have over, I would say, more than 20 trucks, there's going to be like FSRs, so field service reps, their job is going to be to support you guys in sales and after sales
Okay.
service. Sorry.
Okay, so worst case scenario, you've got the part, you fly tech out, maybe the truck may be down 2 days or so before it's installed. But hopefully you find somebody locally that can handle the maintenance and repair.
Yeah, but 95% of the time, we have a PLC that with your smartphone, you'll be connecting to it with a free app. This is all going to be in the manual. It's an app called ICANN. It's free. You
Okay.
can look at it. We can connect on your phone. We'll find the problem remotely. There's a very nice diagnostic page that tells you where the problem is.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was it for
Others?
me.
Awesome. Yeah, and Zach, I know you and I are scheduled to do our pro forma review later on today. Really looking forward to that. And where you are down in South Florida, oh my gosh, I love that market. We'll look at some of the insights because you've got some major distribution, and everybody's moving to Florida. You've got construction coming out of your ears down there, and those
Hey,
construction.
Paul's coming down next week for vacation, but he's going to be too
That's
far
right.
for me to see him.
Actually, it's after Tucson. He's going there for 2 weeks. So
Okay.
Oh, I
You're
love
right.
it.
you're right.
Then he
Are
goes
you,
to San Diego. Then Paul goes
Yeah.
to San Diego. What a life.
Oh my gosh, I want to be Paul.
I know. So do I.
I've got to ask, Zach, sounds like you were on one of the ride along with Paul validation calls. Were you?
Yeah. I yesterday or day before yesterday, I had a call with him.
Cool. Yeah, he's wonderful. Yeah, definitely buy him a beer, have the lunch, etc. when he comes down. He's good people.
I wish I could. He's going to be about a 10-hour drive from me, so he's going to be a good haul for me. But I'll wish him luck. I'll have a virtual beer with him.
There you go.
Perfect. Cool. So, Zach, we've got time carved out today. We'll go deeper into next steps, and then Brian, I know you're under the weather today, but thanks for carving out time, and great to have you here. We've done our pro forma, so really want to make sure that you have the opportunity to do validation. We'll schedule sort of that follow-up one-on-one with Dennis. I know you've already connected with Dennis directly, but now you've gone super deep. Now let's poke and prod and peel back the details. And then Ivan, we got to get a pro forma on the calendar. So I love the business, love what I do, but let's bring the numbers to life and help you build out your model and forecast, et cetera. So, and then for all of you, March 11th, hot dang, March 12th, I've got US people to validate with. So we're really excited. And by all means, as you're going through learning about us, I always invite you, come up to Montreal, visit the Mad Scientists, see us in action, and make the invitation to the US folks. Let them get their feet wet. Let them get up and ramping, and then we'll, more than happy to introduce you to any of our teammates across the country. So thank you all for joining us. If you have other questions, I certainly want to open the floor, and we're here now and following the session.
Hey, Sean, before I forget, on the trucks, it was talk about the different models and, based on different criteria, there'll be help or provided to select the best model truck. Do they differ in the investment at all? The different
Hugo,
models?
you want to hit, the diesel core platform that we're running up there in say British Columbia, and bringing together the PACMAT. What's that overall investment difference compared to the electric vehicle at a high level? And Ivan, I'll get you the details.
Yeah, so like if there are no subsidies, there's like a basic $40,000 tax credit you can file when you buy an electric. That's a federal law, so that's all across. But if you're in a state where there are no grants, you can look at a difference of maybe 120 grand in total pricing. The monthly financing might be a bit different because they tend to lease electric on a longer period of time. So you might have like lower payments. I mean the monthly payment should be as big of a difference, since the electric trucks have a longer life expectancy. So it really, we're working with groups like Daimler for financing. They will finance the whole thing. We're working with Mack. They have like a lending program for their electric fleet. Lion refers to Mitsubishi. There's all kind of options as well that Sean and Dennis can tell you about. But if I look at the overall price, yeah, you can figure, like, depending on your chassis, between 120 grand to 140 grand lower in total price.
And that's
And
for the
Hugo,
electric and the diesel, right?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Ivan.
And that is between the electric and the diesel?
Yes.
And
Is it
Without
hybrid
subsidy,
right in the
without
middle?
subsidy.
Sean, can you or Dennis, can you talk to what's Tucson and San Diego and Nevada? What are they going with?
Yeah, and
Those
I'll
trucks
hit
are
that.
all-
Hugo, can I put you on the spot real quick?
Yeah.
What's on the factory floor? We didn't do that, Hugo, show and tell. You want to go? But go ahead. We'll answer that if you
Yeah.
want to go out there. I always like this part of, like, hey, where's Hugo? Yeah, all of our Tucson, San Diego, Reno, Minneapolis, they're going with the Lion EV, and it's the pure electric. And so, but what we look at, as I was alluding to, is like Renee's business up in British Columbia. He's running the diesel chassis, and so that's exactly what we'll give you guys the option of. And like Hugo said, is really that choice. There are the pros and cons when we look at the infrastructure. Like with the PACMAT, we can plug that in. There she is. To 110, as long as I've got good amperage, and charge up the compactor on the back of that diesel and get that charged up. So did that answer that, Ivan, or other questions around there?
No, you
Let me
answered
add
it.
to that. And let me add to that, though. So if you look at the world today, an all-electric vehicle for us with the Lion EV6, with the compactor on it, it's $382,000 for the truck. If you go with the hybrid and start your fleet with a diesel, Mack or Freightliner or whoever we choose with you, and put the electric compactor on, it's going to be about $250,000 for the truck. Also, let me remind you, I brought in Citizen Bank and their SBA division, Acclivity, and they floor planned us 25 trucks this year to finance with an SBA 7A loan. What does that mean? Our overall project cost is around $500,000 with the electric truck, franchise fee, working capital truck. They'll finance you for 10 years, the term of the franchise agreement, with 10 to 20% down. So if you're looking at a bigger finance and you want to put more cash, you can. The minimum loan amount is $200,000, and they're going to finance the whole thing with $50,000 to $100,000 cash contribution for the entire package, everything. And I want to make sure that's really, really clear. You don't have to go 7A. All of our franchisees have so far. But if you look at the diesel, you're now looking about all in at around $370,000, $380,000, not $500,000, due to diesel being $120,000 less than the Lion 6. Hopefully that clears up a little bit more for you.
It does.
And that's just want to say real quick, because it's very windy outside. This is the first EM2, so full electric Freightliner, first model in Canada. We actually have it. So it's this is going to be introduced this year to your auction. It looks very much like the Class 6, the full diesel one, but it's a full electric. You can actually see the batteries in the back here. So there's no equipment. These are the batteries right here. They're mounted here. So like every truck they will have different kind of range. Most of them will vary between, I would say, 130 something miles up to 200 miles. So it's very variable. The price is going to be in consequence, of course. So let me just walk back in. So yeah, just thought I'd show you guys the full electric Freightliner. Mac has one as well. Their lead time, I mean, the only option last year was Lion. They had everything in stock. The lead time last year for other trucks were like a year, but now they're like 2 to 4 months. So they're matching their production time. So we can offer those.
Well, the beauty for all of you is you're going to have more options. Everybody's courting us right now, and that's great because, we pass through all the buying volume that we can, but you're going to have options. It's wonderful. When we first started, 8-9 months ago, it was just a Lion 6 EV, and, we're happy with that, but, we're going to become a volume player in the market. We know that, and they're all courting us right now. So you guys you're in version 2.0, which is very cool, especially with the diesel option, electric, depending on how you want to begin your fleet.
Nice.
Yeah, so maybe just one little technical detail, like the compactor, the full electric compactor we install on a diesel is the exact same full electrical compactor we install on the electric. There's no difference. The only difference is that we are able to tie in the truck battery to recharge our battery when it's a full electric truck, where we're going to do the same thing with the diesel truck, but it's going to tie it to the alternator. So, but exact same machine, you can remove it and put it on a diesel and vice versa.
Okay. Very nice. I guess you guys will know more
Awesome.
about the advantages later. Advantages and disadvantages of them.
Oh, we've got the pros and cons, but and it's going to come down to a few things. One, as I shared, Lion's looking at what rebates and incentives are available in your local market in parallel with your discovery. And then two is also with on a personal level of the maintenance and all of that of the diesel and paying for gas versus electric, right? With our diesels, right? The Freightliner and the Max, there's thousands and thousands of those on the road. There's local people there supporting them, but they've got oil and transmission fluid and all that. So we've got to account for what's my maintenance and support and gas on that. So, as we go through and work with you, I really say, all right, which one makes the most sense for me now? And in the long term, how do I sort of amortize the maintenance? Our vehicles, right, with an electric vehicle, I share with my little EV. Yeah, I've had it for 8 years, and the only fluid I've changed is windshield washer fluid, right? There's no oil changes, no transmission fluid changes. So versus with the bigger, Class 6 diesel, I've got those things to deal with. So that's, the pros and cons, and we'll work with you to see what makes the most sense in your market.
But you're in control of it. I want to make sure you guys understand that, right? So you have options now. So, and we're going to help you give the best data we can to help you make that decision on how you want to start it. So.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey,
Awesome.
Sean, our timing's perfect. We went right at 2.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank
Look
you,
forward to
gentlemen.
connecting with you all real soon.
All
Real
right.
pleasure.
Sounds good.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you guys. Bye.
Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.